Hello everyone. So today I'm going to show you how to do this projectile prediction path in Unreal Engine. So as you can see here, this green line shows the possible projectile path, and then that red decal at the end of the arc shows where the projectile will hit. So we can use this to do stuff like throwing grenades or stones or anything that you want. So this is what I am going to show you today. So when I press G, this projectile prediction appears, and when I release G, it goes away. And I hope to use this system to implement grenade throwing in our first person multiplayer series. And this episode is sponsored by these generous patrons. Thank you very much for the support you guys are giving me. Right, so throwing grenades is the next thing I want to try in this multiplayer system, multiplayer FPS project. So for that, first let's implement a way to show the projectile arc. Right, so if I play the game at the moment, I can just shoot, and that's pretty much it. So first let's go to inputs and define a new input for the grenades. For that I'll use G throw. And let's open this character. Right, and here let's add that action. Throw. We have pressed event and released event. I'll collapse this. Throwing grenades. Right, now how do we do this? So so for projectile throwing, we have a way to predict projectile path like this. Predict projectile path by, let's use this race channel. And as the start position, I'll give the first person gun. What's this? Spear. Maybe let's just give the actor location just for testing. And for the launch velocity, I'll give get actor forward vector multiplied by let's add some value to this in upward, otherwise we won't see much of a projectile. And then we will have to get unit direction vector. No, normalize this. that we can get a direction vector and multiply this by some value, let's say 100, and connect it to launch velocity. Projectile radius I'll give, let's leave it as 0, I'm not sure. And trace channel, shall we use word static? For the debug type, I'll give for duration 3 seconds. Right, so let's see. Nothing is visible. Alright, actually it does work. When I press G, I think it collides with the character itself. That's the issue. So, right. So as for the actors to ignore, let's make array and give self. Alright, now it does work, but yeah, looks like we don't have enough speed. Let's try 2000. Okay, now we got some path like this. Alright, and if I press G in front of a wall, you can see it stops there. Okay, so right, now let's feed instead of this forward vector. Right, we should be able to get control rotation, and from this forward vector, right. Okay, now let's instead of the actor location, because when I use the actor location, as you can see, it looks like starting from no, it's not a problem. No, it starts from like below the hand level. We can work on that later, fix that later. So right now, how do we have a persistent path that updates as the character look around? Because here, once I press G, there's just a snapshot of the path, but it's not updating with the character. So let's see how to do that part now. Right, so now to show the path, we need to have a spline. So how should I go about that? Right, let's first add a spline to the character. Let's call it arc line. Then we can use these points and add it to this arc spline to define the spline path. Right, the reason to have a arc spline is we can't actually make this spline visible, but using this we can calculate the spline point tangents and locations, so that we can add yeah, if I add a spline mesh, we can make it visible like this. But to add a spline mesh, we need to know this starting tangent and ending tangent, and starting position and ending positions. Well, the positions are okay, we can determine that using this path collisions, but for the tangents we can't well, I don't know how to calculate it. So therefore, let's first add these points to arc spline. Like this for each loop. Add spline point at index. Index is this. I think this should be in world space, and this is the element. Right. Okay. Now after that, we know the right. Now we know the points are in this spline. So after that, we can get do another for loop and then add some spline meshes to show the actual projectile path. Right, so for that we need to know the number of spline points. Number of spline points, right. And then, so from 0th point to the first point and first point to second point. So like that, we have to add spline meshes. So therefore, we should do this only for this number of spline points minus 2, because otherwise we will have a, if this is yeah, we will have a null reference error. So here let's do another loop. First index is 0, last index is this one. Now here add spline mesh. Whether the manual, I'm not sure about that, so let's see. Make transform, let's leave everything as 0. Right, now after adding a spline mesh component, we can set a start and end like this. Set start and end. Right, now here start position is from this set of points. Let's add a reroute node. Get this index, this is the start point, and the end point is get whatever, get this plus 1. And for the tangents, well, we can get them from the spline. Oh, this is not required. Get dark spline, get tangent at spline point. So first one is this, the starting tangent, and the end tangent is this. Right, now here we need to select a mesh. Let's try with this one. I'm not sure about the scale of that, but let's see. Okay, it is working. But scale, we have a problem with the scale. Right, oh, and error. Okay, maybe instead of using this to get the location, let's use the arc itself. Get location at spline point in world space. First one is this. And the second one index is this. Right, okay, we don't have any errors now, but as you just saw, the spline path is huge, so therefore we need a smaller spline mesh. So I imported another model into the project. It's a very small cylinder like model. So for the material, let's add this one just to see. And here, instead of the current material, I'll add that spline beam mesh. Okay, it does work, but kind of looks funny. Well, right, well, now you see these weird shapes. Weird. How to get rid of that? So let's try one more thing. Instead of adding these locations into world space, let's try local space to see if we get any smooth results. that looks better. Right, now you see we have this problem of like we are not updating this mesh, so therefore we keep adding the spline meshes without removing the unused stuff. So we can't do that, we have to update it. So therefore, how to do that? Right here, let's do something like this. Let's add a boolean variable throwing. By default it should be false, and here set throwing to true, and when I release the throw button, set throwing to false. And then here, right, before adding these spline points, let's clear spline points first. Okay, and here also let's add these spline mesh components into an array. Promote to variable line meshes, turn into an array. Right, oh sorry, no, get this and add. Okay, and now we need to update clear this as well, so let's also do that part here. Actually I think it's better to do it before. That means here let's collapse this part and call clear spline and clear the spline points, and also get these spline meshes and destroy can't I destroy? There should be an option to destroy this. Destroy component. Well, not the spline. This one, alright. And also clear the array. Right, now add a small delay when this is all completed. Add a small delay, let's say 0.2 seconds. Let's see how that works. And then we have to do a branch. We have to see if still we are throwing. If true, we have to repeat this process, right? Let's see now. Okay, now it is updating, but I think we can improve this. Because it's not properly aligning with the character. How can we improve this? It feels like it starts from below the character. So as the starting position, instead of actor location, let's give this spear is attached to the gun, so it's better not to use that. Let's try using the camera location. Or maybe no. Let's add a component, a scene component. Grenade start. Let's put it into a location like this. Get to a location. And also let's reduce this. Let's see. Okay, now we can get rid of these trace bubbles. Okay, this is better now. Why does it look gray then? And when I release it, it should clear everything. So yeah, clearing should take place then. No, we should do this check after clearing. So yeah. Now when I release, the bar will be gone. Like that. Okay. Well, to work with spline meshes for this material, there should be a option used with spline meshes. Let's enable this. Right, now it works properly. Okay, now to show the place where the projectile hit, I have imported this kind of a cylinder like object. So let's add that. For this also, let's use this material. Oh yeah, that would be enough. Right now, let's add this. Let's call it projectile hit. Let's add it to the first person character like this, and disable all the collisions. Also hidden, no, yeah, hidden in game. No, let's remove the visibility because it is kind of distracting here. And when we throw the grenade, right, then let's we have this last rest destination. Let's get this projectile hit, and as set world location to this. Also set visibility to enabled. Well, now in the clear spline part, we should make it invisible. Oh no, we can make it invisible here. Set visibility to false. Right. Okay. Now like that, it shows the location that it hits the projectile. Alright, now yeah, I think instead of using mesh, it would be better if we use something like a decal for this. Wait, where is my something is wrong with the spline. I was testing it with 2. Yeah, that was the case. Right, it's okay, but sometimes it becomes invisible. Okay, let's test it with the decal. Add component decal. Let's call it hit decal. Yeah, it is like this, but let's remove the visibility. And then here I'll collapse this component, this part, as the hit point instead of the projectile hit. Here I'll use hit decal. Yeah, that's better. So instead of this decal, let's implement a proper material. Well, I created this decal material. Actually, here is I'm not going to create that in this tutorial because it will take longer, it will make the tutorial longer, so therefore I'll just use this for this decal, mdecal. Right, so here is the final preview with the decal. So that point in the decal shows the possible location the grenade or whatever we throw will hit. And okay, so I'll stop this episode at this point. And in a future episode, let's see how to actually throw a grenade using this projectile prediction system. And project files will be available for the download through the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. So if you would like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. And thanks for watching. See you in another episode. Goodbye.